Microwaves, calculators, and Chinese food. Welcome back to Sound the Siren. I'm Xavier.
And this is Dylan. This is the first of many to come, hopefully. Obviously, with quarantine and isolation going on, we had to find some entertainment. So today, an introduction topic will be top 10 centers in the NBA currently. Let's get straight into it. Xavier, do you have any honorable mentions?
I've got 5 actually. Got
5.
DeAndre Ayton, Marc Gasol, Miles Turner, Mitchell Robinson, and Jonas Valanciunas.
Okay, I've just got a steady 3. I've got Mitchell Robinson. Love him as a player, fierce competitor, but fouls just a bit too much. DeAndre Ayton as well. I'd say he'd be top 5 in a few years. Just needs to develop. His
I agree with
suspension
that.
cost him and his team.
100%.
And Miles Turner as well. Needs to develop a bit more. He's only 24 years old, so heaps of room to improve. Would you like to go first? Number 10.
All right. For number 10, I've got Hassan Whiteside. I was going to have him higher. He's had a really good year this year, but he started off earlier in his career, he wasn't as good or as dominant as these other players above him. So he's still number 10, but very good season this year.
I agree with that. He has improved. My number 10 is a man from New Zealand, Steven Adams. Unreal development with his play and his facial hair. The OKC, a 5th in the West. Most underrated player in the league, I think, with CP3 on their team. He's carrying them very well. Steven Adams averaging 11 points, 9 rebounds this year. They've gone down, but I'd say he's a defensive presence that just really makes the whole team better.
At number 9, I've got Steven Adams for all the same reason. One of the most underrated players in the league, and he's got the Hall of Fame brick wall badge. So I think
that is true. That is very true. Him and CP3 are a nice little duo there.
Yeah.
Combined together. Now, number 9, a man from Orlando, Nikola Vucevic. And it might be a bit harsh. He could be a bit higher. I wish he played somewhere else because players struggle to develop in Orlando. Mo Bamba, an example of that.
Yeah,
Orlando,
I think Mo Bamba's development has been stunted a little bit because he's behind Vucevic, so he struggles.
He's still young, but
yeah, I'd like to see Mo Bamba get traded.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So Orlando 8th in the East, a 30-35 record. Nikola shoots the 3 very well, I will say, and he's averaging 19.5 points and 11 rebounds this year. So I just think he needs a better team around him. But that's just my opinion.
At number 8.
Number 9. Oh, 8, sorry. Yeah.
At number 8, I've got Clint Capella. He's elite at catching lobs, averaging 13.8 rebounds, which, as far as I know, is only behind Andre Drummond and Hassan Whiteside. So, elite rebounder, elite shot blocker, and elite at catching lobs. And earlier on in the season, he was averaging a lot more rebounds. I think it was more 15-16 with a lot more double-double games. So, good player. I'm glad to. I like to see him in Atlanta with Trae Young. It's the new Lob City with Clint Capella and John Collins catching lobs.
They haven't played together yet, so that should be.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, my number 8 is Clint Capella as well. I too looking forward to watch him. Great mix of young prospects there with Cam Reddish, Trae Young, John Collins. He averages 14, as he said. Still struggles from the free throw line though. 53%. That's one area of his game he needs to improve. But I'd say he's a center that holds his ground, and really, he will make Atlanta a much well-rounded team, I'd like to say.
Yeah.
Your number 7, Zave.
My number 7, Nikola Vucevic. He's one of the best scoring centers in the NBA, but doesn't quite have the defense of the people above him. 19.8 points per game and 11 rebounds puts him at number 7. Number 6, sorry. Number 7. Number 7. Still getting used to the podcasting. First time.
That is very true. Very true. Number 7. Mine is Hassan Whiteside. I feel like he's just got a bit more freedom at Portland. I think, it's a shame he's 30 years old. He's averaging 16-14, and his percentage from 3 this year is 57.1. So major improvement in his stretch big game. Portland, it should be better. They've got just an immaculate team, I think. But there was heavy criticism for that trade that Miami had. Although I think it worked for both teams. Miami gained a stretch big in Myers Leonard and allowed development for Bam Adebayo. So we'll have to see how that works in the coming years. Your number 6, Dave.
Did you say Hassan Whiteside shot 50-something% from 3?
This year, he's at .571.
That is ridiculous. That is a very good 3-point percentage.
I know. He is a humble 3-point shooter.
He's got to be one of the best fantasy options, I reckon, in basketball. 16 points, 14 rebounds, and 3 blocks. That's ridiculous. Yeah. You see, I saw a stat on Instagram the other day. There's been 2 people since in the 2010s that have averaged 3 blocks, and it was only him and Serge Ibaka. So
yeah, I remember that triple-double he had for Miami with just blocks. He's done that a couple times. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think he's had 10 blocks like 3 or 4 times.
Definitely. Your number 6?
My number 6 is Bam Adebayo. Had a breakout season this year. 16.9 points, which is up 8.9 from last year. 10.5 rebounds, up 2.3. 5.1 assists, up 1.9. 1.3 blocks. The list goes on.
Well-rounded player.
Yeah, one of the best playmakers at the 5 spot in the league, I reckon. 5 assists for a center is really good. The averaging a double-double, defensive monster. There's not much more I can say.
Heavily agree with that. Now, my number 6, some may say it's a bit low, but I've got Rudy Gobert. I know he's 2 times decoy, but I'm not a big fan of Rudy Gobert. But give credit where credit is due. They're 4th in the West, the Utah Jazz. He's averaging 15-14, 2 blocks as well, 70% from the field. However, he is a liability on offense, I'd say. No real, range or handles, just there for rebounds, screens, the lobs. But that's my personal opinion.
At number 5, I've got Andre Drummond. He's an elite rebounder, good on defense, one of the only centers in the league to average a block and a steal a game, and can score as well. Had a really good first game this season, but elite rebounder. He takes my 5 spot.
My number 5 as well, Andre Drummond. The Cavs are last in the East, but they have improved since they've got him. I don't know what Detroit were doing with that trade, really, but I think he wasted his years at Detroit. I'm sorry, Detroit fans, but he's only 26 years old, so he still has room for improvement. I'm a fan of his ability, like snatch boards everywhere. If his free throw game's developed, he shoots the mid and the 3 much better nowadays. And as you said, he averages 17, 15, close to 2 steals, 1.5 blocks this year, and he's only 26, so he's got a very bright future ahead of him, I think.
You said he's wasted his career in Detroit. I don't think he's going to be making much use of his career in Cleveland, though. So I hope he leaves Cleveland in the off-season to a contending team.
I don't know. Colin Sexton and Darius Garland.
I think they still got a while to go, I reckon. Still young.
Kevin Love isn't too bad either, though. I know he's
old, though.
Not as good as he was. I know he's old. He's not as good as he was, but just good person to be around for a role model for the younger ones. But
might have to get into that when we go to the power forwards list.
I agree. I think we might.
Number 4, I've got Rudy Gobert. Same reasons you said. 15 points, 13 rebounds, back-to-back defensive player of the year, good at catching lobs, runs the floor, athletic. That's what I like in a centre.
It's true. You don't think he's a liability?
I think he's very one-dimensional. If he's not getting points at the rim, he's not really scoring. But his defense is just so good that he's got to get up there.
Okay. Interesting. Now, I think we've switched spots here, I want to say. My number 4 is Bam Adebayo. Major revelation. Maybe a bit biased here, Miami. But we're 4th in the East. He's averaging 16, 5 assists this year, and 10 rebounds. Most improved candidate, 100%. What's your opinion on that? Most improved?
Definitely one of the candidates. Who was my pick for most improved at the start of the season? I've got that on record. So.
And maybe along with Devontae Graham, Ingram. We'll have to speak about that maybe after this. He's only 22 years old, Dave.
His improvement this year is ridiculous. Up on every stat this year. 8.9 points. Really good. My
I
number
love
3.
watching him run point from time to time.
Yeah.
The Heat give up 109 points per game, and I reckon Bam is one of the main reasons why. He's elite and reliable defensive weapon, and an offense is shown that he can be a playmaker as well as scorer as well. So
Yeah, he sort of
you're number
reminds me
3.
of the Draymond Green type.
Back in the day, Draymond.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Number 3,
You're number
Karl
3?
Anthony Towns. Probably the best scoring center in the NBA, averaging 26.5 points, 10.8 rebounds, 4.8 assists, and a block a game. Very good player. His defense is still a little bit not quite where you'd like it to be.
Yeah, I agree.
But he's got defensive potential with this being 7 foot. And his 3-point percentage, his free throw shooting, elite for a center. So I could see any one of my number 3 centers being the number 1 at the end of next year.
I agree with that. Mine number 3 as well, Karl Anthony Towns. The Timberwolves, although they're second last in the West, he's still averaging 26, 11, and 4, which is ridiculous. And it's only his 4th year this year. He does need to improve on defense, but he is an absolute star and will be in the years to come. So they were unable to make the playoffs, but he has dropped significantly on his field goal percentage, which is a worrying regression. But I think he's got a very bright future and will be one of the faces of the NBA in the future.
I think the field goal percentage might have to do with him shooting more. Also, very stiff not to be an All-Star this year, if I do say so.
Yeah,
just because he got injured just before the All-Star break, and people sort of forgot.
He has shown his ability to thrive on offense this year. I remember, I think it was against the Grizzlies this year, and he hit that buzzer beater, and that just capped off an unbelievable night. I watched that game. He was
his start
everywhere
to the
on the
season
floor.
was really good.
Shame he's had injuries, but I think when the NBA comes back, if it does this season or next season, his improvement will show on the floor, 100%.
My number 2, Nikola Jokic, 20 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 0.7 blocks, 1.2 steals. Very good player. But I sort of put him in the same category as Kat, where his defense isn't quite as good as the person in the number 1 spot. But his playmaking is so good from the 5 spot. 7 assists from a center is pretty much unheard of.
My number 2, it's a bit controversial. I've got Joel Embiid. So the Sixers, 6th in the East, they're 39-26, but on the road they're 10-24, and I think they need to sort out their problems with Harris, Benny Simmons, and Embiid. He's averaging 23, 12, 3 this year. Now, Zave, I want to know, I've got a question for you. Does he lead a team, or do you think that's up to Simmons? Because Embiid, they came up short, obviously. In that series against Toronto, he averaged a mere 17.6 points per game, and with a field goal percentage of 42.4 in a 7-game series. So I want to know, do you think he leads the team, or does Ben?
I think Joel Embiid in that series was very injured and was lucky to even be playing. I also think he can lead a team to a championship, and I think that him and Ben Simmons could fit together. They just need spacing and shooting outside of those 2 players. And I'm not sure Al Horford is the man for the job. I think he's to take a lot of the blame for the Sixers' regression this season.
Yeah,
I've got some stats here. My number 1, obviously, Joel Embiid. His stats this season, 23.4 blocks and 11.8 rebounds. But that is down last year from 27.5 points and 13.6 rebounds, which is a significant decrease.
Yeah.
And I do think it's got something to do with Horford.
Okay. So you're saying he's injured, even though he broke out the windmill in that series, you still think he wasn't the same?
Yeah, I think he was injured throughout the whole entire... got hobbled towards the end of the season.
Okay. Yeah, I can see your point on that.
Yeah.
Now, my number 1, Nikola Jokic. He was your number 2. They're 3rd in the West, 43-22 record, and he averages 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists for a center. He's literally a point guard in disguise. His versatility, it makes his teammates better. Jamal Murray, Gary Harris averages the most assists other than every centre other than Wilt ever in history.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on that?
Well, as I said, pretty much unheard of from a centre to be averaging 7 assists per game. Ridiculous.
He did receive criticism at the start of the year for looking a bit overweight, but he runs probably the most on the court, wears the heart in the sleeve, good at basically everything, love his ability to create and facilitate, obviously. So
that was going to be my question to you. Do you think if he lost a bit of weight, no offense to Nicola here, but you think if he lost a bit of weight, he'd be better?
I mean, he's still the stretch big. He shoots threes well, he gets in the paint, and he throws those unbelievable full court passes.
Yeah.
I think the weight helps him in the post because he's already an unbelievable post player with the hook, the fade. His shot release is a bit funky, I will say, but it works. So if it goes in, don't change it.
I think the full court pass is definitely a fun thing to watch if you're ever bored during quarantine. Nikola Jokic full court passes, it's definitely a thing to see.
The NBA actually released a video the other day of full court passes, and there was this one where Jokic just grabbed the rebound, one hand, did a 180, just threw it. I think it was to Gary Harris, I want to say.
Like an NFL pass.
I know, NFL player in disguise.
Now, I think, Dylan, all 10 of our players were the same, just in different orders.
Were they? I think they were too, yeah.
Mm.
It was pretty much the same list.
Yeah.
I think in a couple of years, I'd say either Ayton or Robinson will be in that list. I think a couple of these top 10s are decreasing. I think, also DeMarcus Cousins, I forgot to mention. He's been injured the last 2.5 years or 2 years. I know he played for Golden State, but it wasn't for a long time, and he got injured again. So I'm hoping he gets out there because he was unreal to watch, and he's in that Sacramento uniform.
Vucevic is getting worse at his current age, down 1.3 points from last year, which isn't that much, but still getting worse. And I would say Hassan Whiteside is meant to be getting worse at this age, but he's playing outstanding this season.
I agree with that. Whiteside, even though he's still 30, he is 30, he's definitely better from Miami.
Yeah.
Shame he didn't really play until about he was 25, I want to say. So
I think
hopefully,
I think it's good for both him and the Heat for him to have left because he's obviously thriving in Portland, and now that he's gone, Bam can take the starting spot, and he's been dominating. Even being higher than Hassan on the list.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying about that trade. Miami, they did get Myers Leonard, who has been very handy for them this year. Actually, I remember Myers Leonard in the conference finals last year. Showed glimpses of being an absolute superstar. No, but I agree. Bam's definitely just going to be on the uprise the whole future.
You got any other notes, Dylan?
I think that just about wraps it up, Zave.
So next week, on the next podcast, I think we'll have an extra person on here, surprise guest. Yeah. Hopefully this podcast can take off and can make it a regular thing.
I agree with that, Zave. Thank you for listening, anyone out there. We will be back next week, the week after. We're going to mix it up with NBA, AFL, all types of different sports in the future. But the first episode, that wraps it up. I'm happy
we'll go through, in the future, we'll go through the power forward, small forward, so on. And might throw a little part at the end of the podcast with other sports. But obviously it's hard to do sports news at the moment, the quarantine going on. So
that's why we're just trying to provide some entertainment. And obviously with these lists, we'll do current, and I want to say we could do historical.
Yeah,
it's 100%. It's a big question. I think we can.
I think the historic list would have a few more differences compared to the current ones.
I agree. Our opinions will definitely differentiate. Thank you for listening, and until next time.